Alexander Grabovetskiy. Did I say your last name right?
Yep. Try one more time.
Grabovetskiy.
Grabovetskiy.
Grabovetskiy. Grabovetskiy. Well, first of all,
that.
Good. I am honored to have you, Alex, and you are an incredible artist, a world-class carver. For those of you who don't know you, you've prepared a little demonstration, but before you get into that, I just wanted to say how I've been personally affected by your work. I'm a huge fan of the architectural carvings from, Grinling Gibbons. Who isn't? And if you haven't heard of Grinling Gibbons, check him out. He is
well, then you're not wood carver.
Yeah, right. Yeah, probably not. Probably not. And one of the greatest to ever live. And Alex is an incredible carver and in a similar style. I don't know. You could probably shed more light on the inspiration that you've gained from him, but you do absolutely incredible, delicate work. That I think that's the connection point to me with Grinling, is that it's so delicate. It looks as though it couldn't possibly stay together and couldn't possibly be carved from one piece of wood. It's absolutely insane. And I'm very grateful as well that you're able to do some carving while we're chatting. So anyway,
absolutely.
Without further ado, I just wanted to say I hope to learn from you one day and take a class from you, and just endlessly inspired by seeing your posts and seeing your work in your classrooms and what your students produce as well. So awesome work.
But it's really hard class, by the way, Alex.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I bet.
I mean, this what I'm working on, it was 5 days project.
Wow.
I mean, the whole thing in 5 days.
Wow.
I mean, it's a really complex. Okay, so we're talking about really complex stuff with all the, excavations and stuff like this, and people crying sometimes.
Wow.
Literally, I mean, with tears. I had a guy like a year ago. He was tough, like a really, ready to fight guy.
Yeah.
And like a southern accent from Texas.
Yeah.
Billy, okay, and he's a really nice guy actually, but like a tough-looking one. By Wednesday, it's a 5-day class. He was literally crying, saying, "Oh no, I'm not good. I'm not good." And I came to him and I said, "Billy, it's all right. You can do it. You can do it." But it's really hard. We're working in a real 3D. I mean, especially stuff like this. Like you see some of the behind. I'm not sure if you're able to see that or not. It's a full 3D. By the way, you mentioned that Grinling Gibbons used layers, and in this, what we worked on in a class, that is just a class. It's not for the client. It is the true Grinling Gibbons design, approach, and so on. But on the other hand, it is possible to do from a single piece. And there was a guy in 19th century. His name is Wallace. And he was able to pull better quality carving from single piece, better than Grinling Gibbons.
Wow.
Okay. So later on, I can probably pull, on my iPad, and I'll show what I mean by that. Okay. So it's kind of really nice.
Yeah.
Okay?
Would love to see that.
Oh yes, absolutely.
But for those who aren't familiar, which I'm sure most are, many in the carving community probably don't need me to say this, but internationally award-winning, you're making carvings for basically the richest of the rich, right? Your clientele are the wealthiest tier of people, and so there's a high demand for precision. And so what you're doing is not just sort of shooting from the hip.
Oh yeah. Oh, that is true. Those guys kind of, they are richest of the richest. I just don't know. It just happened. Wow. So it's not like I was looking for it, but
right.
It just happened. Yes.
Wow.
So I wish they pay me more.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Don't we
but
all?
That's all right. I'll survive.
Did you have that little that you had some photos queued up? Did you want to show us those?
Well, I can just show some of the photos. You have to understand those clients I'm working with. some of them require not to share to the world any of the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so for me, for example, I just shipped, it was a huge project, the whole room, and I just shipped it overseas, and I can't even show that. It's just, it is what it is. I mean, we're talking about those names I can't even pronounce out loud. And that's not on a country level, it's international level, okay?
Wow.
So just in case, I mean, I do understand the privacy, and just in case, they can see the glance of the window and people can figure out where they live and so on. It's just for the protection and so on.
Right.
But yes, I can show you some of the work I've done. Let me just show that to you. Oh, by the way, you can follow me on Instagram, woodcarver Grabovetskiy. Or if you're older, you can follow me on Facebook, woodcarver Grabovetskiy. If you are a lady, follow me on Pinterest, woodcarver Grabovetskiy. Yes, and if you're really old, just follow me on MySpace. I don't remember the name.
Yeah.
But yes, I do carve pretty much every day for living. Okay, those lines which you see, it was in the house of founder of Arizona Iced Tea. I don't want to name, I don't want to say that, but it's for the doors, about 4 feet high. But those are realistic looking heads, surrounds it with some Baroque style, like unlace you can see right here.
Wow.
Just walk around. And if you pay attention, I was really worried about to present, especially on a still photo, you can see some blood vessels and all the muscles and stuff like this. It was really important for me to keep every muscle movement correct and every blood vessel. And I know, Alec, you're carving faces, and I saw amazing work what you've done.
Thank you.
And you know how important it is, all the wrinkles, all the blood vessels, and so on.
Yeah, that's incredible.
But anyway, you can see probably, those blood vessels, especially on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
Right on the cheek, where the really big arteries and so on.
Wow.
So, yeah, I really like, I mean, for me, doesn't really matter. I can do any type of carving, lion heads, flowers, you name it. I mean, any style, give me a piece of wood, or I should say, I gotta buy a piece of wood and I'll carve it for you. And I'm gonna charge you more for just a piece of wood.
Right.
But, yeah, some of the stuff which you see, that is what I've done. I mean, and yeah, I do love flowers, because it's a really, to put it a simple way, it's actually for me more complex and harder to carve than a lion head. Flower is so intricate, it's a paper thin, and you can just make one mistake and the petal is gone. And if the petal is gone, you break the law. I mean, Fibonacci sequence of the petals, if you're familiar a little bit with, design and so on. So that is why it's actually more complex. Yeah. And every one of them, it's like a paper thin. You can see even some holes in the flowers because it was just almost all the way through. But it is what it is. But like I said, even number of petals matters in the flowers. It's just the same like in the human body. You can't give a hand 6 fingers. It's gonna look like from the Bible time from Goliath. So, you can't give a off sequence petals to the flower. It's supposed to be X amount. I mean, depends on the flower. There's some different flowers they actually break the rule, but the majority, it's really important to keep it. Okay. Yeah, that is what I do pretty much every day for the clients. You can see a bunch of stuff laying on the floor and walking around, and you can even see my bare foot somewhere. I call it steel toe, barefoot.
It's not coming through.
Yeah.
I don't think it's coming through on the screen.
It should be recording. No, it does. Oh, I'm so sorry. Hold on just a second. Oh, I'm so sorry.
There it is. Good. Oh, my goodness.
Hold on.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Unbelievable work. Wow.
So that is everyday stuff, pretty much.
Oh my
And
goodness.
was that? That is just a black screen, I see. But anyway, last year when you invited me for the first episode, so that was the piece. It was on my. I think I was working on that one.
Yeah, that sounds. It looks familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. That is just a part. I mean, some other parts of the same room and so on. That is actually really interesting because I had to be really accurate to the historical times. Okay, it's not only to the historical times, but also to that specific town. It has to be Venetian style from Venice.
Okay.
Of beginning of 16th century, end of 15th, beginning of 16th century. I could not use any other tools what they did not use. I could not use any finish what they did not use. Okay, so I had every stroke gotta be authentic, and you know that is what makes the carving unique when you just are able to reproduce. If you wish, I mean, it's not really reproduction. Okay, let's put it that way. I did not copy. I didn't copy anyone. Even on that piece, what you look at, it's not copy. Okay, it's based on a style of Venice, a style of Venetian, craftsmanship. What they did back then. But the design is absolutely unique, so you're not going to find anywhere in the world. Details, yes, you'll find, like elements, like how the acanthus, or acanthus, whatever you call it, supposed to look like, and so on. Because Venetian acanthus is different from Roman acanthus, it's different from Byzantine acanthus, different from English acanthus, from German acanthus, French acanthus. It's gotta be Venetian acanthus. And the good thing is I'm actually filming everything for the school. Okay, so it's actually pretty much life-based.
Yeah.
And that is just one of the elements of the same thing. And let me show that to you from this room. That is a single piece, by the way. It's not layered or anything.
Wow.
I could not use any layering on this project. Glenn Gibbons did not. I mean, wasn't born yet.
Wow.
I carved for a long time. This when I was younger, much younger, of course.
Wow. Just stunning.
Yeah, you can see that rosette I showed you previously.
Yeah.
It is actually shows on those panels. Yes, I carved rosettes separately, and then I applied them on the panels. Okay.
Yeah.
The reason why, because I had to build actually those panels separately, and it wasn't just a paneling. Okay, it's just a section of the walls. The whole wall was covered. I mean, surrounded walls with some hidden doors, which is curved doors, and you would open, and there's some hidden rooms behind.
Wow.
Okay? I guess how you call it, a panic room or something.
Yeah, I mean that you could call it that.
I doubt they panic.
Yeah.
But see how big those are.
Wow.
Let me try to hold it. See those shoes? It's a shop shoes. Steel toe ones.
Someone messaged me on YouTube saying they don't trust a man who wears Crocs in the shop, and I wear Crocs in the shop. So you make me feel a little better.
Of course, it's a professional way.
Yes, agreed.
See that?
So how tall were those?
10 feet. 10 feet. And plus, I do have a base for that later on, and there's going to be a crown above and so on. But it's 10 feet.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
So let me see what's going to show here. That's already done. Oh, that was a class in Austin I was teaching last year. We had a bunch of musicians. Oh, by the way, the class I was teaching just last week in Texas, like 90% of people, they were professional musicians and luthiers. Okay, so from all over. I mean, from Canada, from other states, Michigan, and so on. They were luthiers. who built upright basses, which is a different level of, luthier. So they do guitar. It's easier, but the most complex stuff, it's upright bass. Okay.
All the carving involved, right?
Because there's no treads, and you have to be you can't be off. I mean, the arch, the position of the strings, the spacing.
Right.
So it's the most complex. And most of those guys, they were upright bass builders.
Wow.
On average, for you just understand, on average, one bass costs about 45,000-60,000.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Incredible. That's really good. All right, let me find another guy. I told you. Oh yeah, I found him right away. Pretty much. Hold on, just a second. Let me find the bigger picture, and I'll prove it to you that he was better carver than Glenn Gibbons.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Let me see if you're going to be able to see it. Can you see that?
Oh my goodness! Wow.
That is about 48 inches.
Oh my gosh.
And that is a single piece, no layers.
What?
I'm talking about, he was not known. He lived in the 19th century. He was inspired by Glenn Gibbons, but he pushed himself a much, to different level. So he decided he's not going to use any layers.
Oh
so
my
that
goodness.
is no layering.
No layering on that.
No layering. But look at the detail.
Oh my gosh. How is
Isn't
that
it beautiful?
I don't understand how it's even possible.
Well, see even those spaces, right there. It's just all excavation, but you don't see.
Right.
But there's the flowers right on inside also. It's all carved right there. But the level of detail, what he was able to do, it's amazing. It's just amazing. But look at that.
Absolutely unbelievable.
It's gorgeous. I know it's a little blurry, but let me show you a different picture. But see that bird right there hidden?
I mean,
that's amazing. Everything, just a single layer. I mean,
look at the blackberry.
Even in those areas. I mean, see that flower? You barely see that on the screen, but there is flower.
Wow.
There's some leaves, sticking right underneath.
Right.
So he was much better. Look at the detail of the birds, whatever the claw.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just amazing.
That's
and
absolutely
it looks like he was really inspired by the Glenn Gibbons because those pea pots, that was a common thing. Although this guy done a much better job on hazelnuts than Glenn Gibbons. Because Glenn Gibbons hazelnuts, they were completely off. The guy didn't even know what the hazelnuts supposed to look like.
He made his own hazelnuts.
But look at that bird. It's just amazing.
Yeah, wow.
Everything he did is actually just a single piece.
Oh my God. And what's his name?
Wallace.
Yeah.
He was hold on just a second. Let me remember that. Okay. Just let me find the true name of the guy. Just a second. Give me a second, please. So he was right there. Thomas Wilkinson Wallace, Sculptor in Wood. He wrote the book about his life. Okay. And English. So he was in England, obviously, and you can see it's the end of 19th century.
Wow.
I mean, by the date right here. And that's an autobiography book, or journal, if you wish.
Wow.
Extracts from his 60 years journal. Alec, if you're going to read that book, it's kind of boring, okay? Yeah. It's not like really exciting to read. But if you want to understand how wood carver lived in 19th century, how much they made, how much they spent, that is probably the best book there is, okay? You can't find any better book because he wrote everything. I spent so much on food. It's not easy to read, okay? I mean, maybe it is easy. I shouldn't say that, but it's not like a really exciting reading.
Right.
But it was exciting for me. I know how much he paid for his house, how long he took to carve that 48-inch piece, and it makes me happy because I'm kind of faster than him.
There you go. I would love to.
or at least there's some, goal I can say, hey, if he's done that in a X amount of days, let me push myself and maybe I'll be able. And it's not about just carving really quick. The detailing still got to be, there. So you can carve quick with, I mean, I saw one of the episodes you did with the chainsaw.
Oh, okay.
It is quick. But the level of details you can't do by the chainsaw or
it's totally different. Yeah. No, I'm not particularly fast as a chainsaw carver. I have a friend who is one of the fastest chainsaw carvers in the world, but and we've collaborated, but nowhere near I'm not very fast compared to him. So
sure.
But that is an interesting thing. And so when you talk about time and the way that you approach carving, do you find that you think about beating yourself from your previous work, seeing how much you can get done, how efficient you can be?
No, not anymore. I should say yes. Previously, yes, I would say yes, but no longer. Okay. For me, I enjoying the process. Let's put it that way. I really enjoy every moment when I grab a tool and start, digging and so on. Listen to those, whatever the sounds it's producing and so on. And hey, we're not gonna live forever, right here. So I gotta enjoy the moment. So I don't push myself anymore. Okay, I hate deadlines. And even the clients, when they say, hey, there's a deadline, go ahead and find someone else, okay? I'm not going to do on a deadline anymore. So I've done it. I've done too many times. It just puts so much stress. You make a lot more mistakes, and I don't want to push myself and all. So, and I don't need to. I mean, I'm nowadays, I don't even have to take any, commissions. So I can just relax if I wanted to. I live in beautiful Florida. Ocean is in a couple of minutes from here, so I can just be right there. But my philosophy is I gotta enjoy. Okay, there's a really good book. The name of it, Flow, and that's one of the Flow, FLOW.
Yeah.
And it is professor. He's actually spent many years researching what makes people happy. And he argues, lots of people, they think, well, once we're going to remodel a kitchen, we're going to be happy. Once we're going to buy a car, certain model, we're going to be happy. Once we're going to sell a house, we're going to be happy. Once we're going to get the boat, we're going to be happy. Once we're going to get the helicopter, we're going to be happy. But it's not true. Enjoying the process, even if you decide to remodel a kitchen, if you enjoy every moment in the process, you're going to be happy. But once that's going to be done, you're going to get used to it. It's like in 1 week. That's it. So it's going to be the same old thing. Well, maybe 2 weeks in your case, but I get used to, to the stuff really quickly.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, no, I do not push myself anymore. I've done it when I was much younger, in my 20s, and I made lots of mistakes because I was overwhelmed. And nowadays, like I said, it's all about enjoying of what I'm doing at this moment. Okay, if it's gonna take me longer, I'm absolutely fine. Okay, I mean, as long as those guys who pay me, fine. But I don't like when they missing deadline of payment.
Right. Yes, we have to have some standards, don't we? Yeah.
Well, deadline's supposed to be just to the payments,
right?
Not of what we do.
Right.
Hope it answers.
It does. It's a great answer, and it's I feel like it's selfishly coaching me and helping me to process some things I'm dealing with and making things. So that's a great answer. You're enjoying yourself. Are there things that you find that you can do to make the process more enjoyable? Is there a process that you have where you can get yourself into that flow state, or what does that look like? You're kind of, maybe that's a routine, a daily habit, or what does that look like?
Oh, yes. Number one, I mean, you can see my shop is always clean and organized. It's one of the things, clutter-free. For me, it's really important. It's number one. I mean, you have to enjoy, since, you know, my studio right now, I had a big shop before, but not anymore. I don't need it. And for me, really important what surrounds me. Now it's kind of messy because I've got a couple items laying around. I was editing for the school and a few more gouges laying behind me, but I usually keep only a few of them, but everything is just organized. It makes me the process, I mean, to enjoy a lot more the process and so on, organization, cleanness, I should say. Number one. The second, probably, I really want to make sure my tools are sharp. And if it's just even slightly dull, I would not use it, okay? I'm not going to force it. I would just spend my time resharpen them and so on. It also brings me joy. As far as the routine, it's the same thing. Well, just because I do have a school online, I'm recording everything. I can't listen to music or I can't listen to audiobooks anymore because I have to record the thing. So, but before the school, yeah, I was listening a lot of courses, online courses, audiobooks and so on. I really enjoyed that. That's the beauty of wood carving. You can work with your hands and work on a, you know, like auto mode pretty much, like in a flow or in a zone, but you can just plug yourself and listen to whatever you want to listen and get the whole education if you want to. Okay. I've got some of the university, I mean, I've got multiple degrees, but one of the universities I passed just by carving. So I was carving, and when we had those videotapes, so there was a TV with the professor talking, and I was carving, and then I would just do the test and send them. It was like an initial education, like a distance education. It wasn't online yet, but it helped me a lot.
That's amazing. So you could do that while you were carving.
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. Yep.
That's absolutely incredible.
Well, not only that, what I like to stress, people sometimes don't realize what happens with your brain when you're carving. I'm not sure we talked about that last time or not. First of all, carving is pretty much artistic expression. Okay, it is more art than a skill or craft.
Right.
That's my opinion, my take. But, well, first of all, wood carving, it's the only thing which combines two worlds, like a woodworking skills and artistic expression. Okay, so it's just the two in one. That's the only in woodworking world. Wood carving is the best in that, combining those two parts, artistic and skill. That's number one. Also, what happens inside of your brain? Let me put it that way. I mean, Alec, you grew up in the United States, am I right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. I don't know, was it a big town, small town, village? But whenever you go, I mean, even in the smallest of the smallest towns, go to school, at least in the class going to be at least one guy or girl artistically, you know, able to draw something, okay? Right? Always you can find some artists who are able to express artistically. I mean, even in the smallest village. Now, if you count how many people in the world able to do fine art, millions of people. Don't you agree with me?
Of course, absolutely.
A lot.
Right.
Because it's actually in two-dimensional world. When you just paint something, it's 2D. When you take a step up and go to 3D, like a sculpture, when those guys working with the clays, a lot less. Okay, how many people can you find who's doing a sculpture? Maybe thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands. You know, they put clay, they made a mistake, chop off, put it back, and that's already three-dimensional. Okay. and it's art of adding, art of addition. Wood carving and stone carving, on the other hand, it's an art of deduction. You actually involve mathematics. You cannot deduct too much. You carve human faces. Try to cut little deeper. And you can't make any more. I mean, there's not going to be any likeness right there.
Right.
Okay. That person does not exist. There's a website actually. That person does not exist.com, I think. So, and the difference is it's an art of deduction. And if you compare to fine artists, millions, sculptors, thousands, wood carvers, you can just put on the fingers. I mean, professional level wood carvers. I'm not talking about just a hobby. Not too many.
Right.
Not too many, because it's a art of deduction. But what happens with your brain if you're not used before some parts of the brain responsible for the three-dimensional world, that part of the brain pretty much dying off. Okay, but when you start wood carving, you're stirring up, you create new brain cells, you create new neuron passes, and your brain actually more alive. You prolong the life of the brain. Okay, that is why wood carvers, they don't lose a memory as often as other normal people. So it's actually a fight that dementia, one of the best things.
Wow.
You know, that's wood carving. It's art of deduction. Think about artistic expression, only a certain part of the brain responsible, like they say, and it's the right part of the brain. And mathematics, it's the left part of the brain. In wood carving, you combine both. Math, because you have to deduct. You have to subtract all the time. You can't travel too deep. You don't, of course, calculate by the formula, but inside of your brain, you still have to figure out how deep you're supposed to travel.
Right.
You can't just overcalculate. You just have to get the right amount of slicing. You have to take that chip out, and it has to be perfect. So you know what I'm talking about, especially with human faces and so on.
Sure.
So really important.
That's
really
great.
important.
I love that. I love the way you break that down to say it's there's both math and creativity involved, and the issue of being subtracting is also considerably challenging for people when they consider carving. And I found that a lot of people are afraid to attempt that because they don't like the idea of once something comes off, they can't put it back on. And it actually, we've talked about it a million times on podcasts with carving, but it kind of, that idea is kind of like constricting, or like it keeps people from moving forward. But to me, the analogy, not to get too kind of esoteric or pie in the sky or whatever, or like analogy silly, but it is kind of like life, right? We keep going forward and we can't go back. Like you cannot redo anything, any moment.
Here you go. That's a good analogy, yes.
And carving is a lot like that. Once you've made a cut, it's very difficult to undo that cut.
You're
properly.
Chipping away. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sort of, so like, I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm stretching this too hard, but like life is kind of like time. It's like reductive, it keeps reducing. And before you know it, it's gone. So you have to value it while it's there. And so I don't know, maybe the analogy.
Before you know, you're ready for resurrection.
Yeah, exactly.
So, here you go.
So there's something there, but I don't know if it fully extends, that analogy breaks apart. But anyway, I'm interested though, something I thought about earlier, not to come too far away from where we were just now, but in terms of your creating videos, this is another selfish question. So listeners, please forgive me for this counseling session.
we all selfish because we gotta steal secrets from each other.
That's right.
Or it's a mutual benefit. Okay, it's not stealing.
Right.
It's actually better. Okay, when we can help each other. And,
yes.
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely.
I'm glad you see it that way.
Oh well, hey, before you just ask that question, let me just explain.
Please,
one day on Hawaii, owner of McDonald's, the founder of McDonald's, and the founder of Burger King, they were eating in the Pizza Hut, okay, together, and shared food together, by the table. And one of the guys recognized from the TV both of them, and the guy asked, aren't you supposed to be an enemies? You know, you're supposed to be an enemies. He's a Burger King guy and you know, McDonald guy. And those guys said, oh, no, 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 no. We've got the same goal to feed the people, but we have a different approach. Wow. Okay, they make burgers in the Burger King different way from what we do in the McDonald's, but we're still friends. The same mission, if you wish. Okay, same mission, but a different process.
I love that.
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, I never see. First of all, okay, I do understand when people feel like competition and so on. I don't think it's a good thing. For example, you do have a school. I have a school. You have your set of skills. You carving faces. I carve different things. I carve a lot of historical stuff, and we can both give it to people. Okay, so and people can learn from all the angles, from all the perspectives, and so on. Go ahead and ask me a question. Sorry for the jumping in.
Not at all. Thank you for that. That's seriously beautiful. I feel the same way. You know, before I get to that question, I so agree with that. I think, you know, we better each other from those things. And
oh, absolutely. How would you learn?
And there's no joy. There's no joy in keeping everything to yourself. I see you as a teacher, you know, sharing this knowledge, right? You have an incredible amount of knowledge about what you do, and you're sharing it is an act of humility. It's here's how I do what I do, and it's also like very, you know, it's a very selfless thing, and but it does. I feel like it feeds you back, doesn't it? When people feel like they really get it and they enjoy it and they grab onto it.
Oh, absolutely. People saying wood carving art is a dying art, but it is dying just because there's no teachers. They never would just share those secrets and stuff like this. And we are not going to live forever. And I mean, it could die. That's the thing.
Right.
But there's a lot of people who would love to possess that knowledge.
And so my question for you on that note is, when you're editing your content or your videos, I have to imagine there's so much there because these are so complex. How do you decide what to keep and what to remove?
Oh, it's easy.
Yeah.
It's a great question, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah. How do I decide what to keep? I keep everything.
Really?
That's it. I mean, yes, it's called School of Wood Carving. The site is schoolofwoodcarving.com. But my approach is more virtual apprenticeship. And what is an apprenticeship? One apprentice inside of your shop and watching you work. You just right there, just watching over the shoulder. And sometimes teacher doesn't even tell. The guy is actually just observing it.
Yes.
And that's, I do the same thing. When I'm working on a huge project, I'm still filming the whole thing. That's why in my school, it's over 3,000 videos. And I'm just working and I'm explaining what tools I'm using, why I'm using those tools, what the other approach you can take, what alternative way you can do the same operation and so on. But I keep the thing. Okay, I keep everything in a school. That is. It's not necessarily better or worse than other schools. It's a different approach. Okay, it's not like when I'm teaching in person, I have goal to teach like curriculum, if you wish,
right?
Like a lecture plus hands-on and so on. No, I don't do lecture in the school. So it's actually inviting you in my shop and observe the real life projects. Okay, and the way I do, and it makes me more human. And if I make mistakes, I can laugh at myself and say, "Hey, look at that! I just cracked the thing. I took too much. I deducted too much."
And that's so important to see, really, because as a student, I want to see how you fix something like that, right? How you?
Oh, yes, the way you fix it, just take it and throw away and start all over.
Yeah. Right.
No, you're not, but
So that's an easy fix.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, thanks for that. So that my selfish pursuits are probably not over with, but at least for that. But I wanted to ask you, I know we've talked about it before, your sort of coming up into carving is a very dramatic story. It's not a typical, oh, well, I just fell in love with carving because I enjoyed it. Sure, that's part of it, but can you talk just a little bit, touch on your kind of origin story?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hey, you can hear my accent, which I keep, by the way. I was born in USSR. There is such a thing right on the opposite side of the planet, you know, and I probably should mention Russians not supposed to be just a scary people on Netflix.
Right.
You know, unfortunately, you can't find any movie nowadays without like bad Russian.
So
Okay?
true.
I am Russian, and I keep my accent to scare people off because, you know, it's the scariest accent on the planet Earth. I mean, the language is fine. Я могу говорить по-русски, и это звучит очень хорошо. The language is soft and nice, but when I talk in English, it just, you know, introduces those twists. Sounds like a mafia guy, okay? That's why I can go to New York, to Brooklyn, and I feel safe.
There you go.
So, now, yes, I was born in Russia, Russian part of USSR, and during the USSR, I was in school during the USSR, and it wasn't that easy. But I started to carve when I was 6 years old. When I put it this way: I stole my first chisel when I was 6 years old from my grandfather. Okay?
There you go.
That's what I did. But my journey in wood carving started with brick. It was a white brick, not the clay brick, but the white silicone. It's actually a harder brick. And I carved face. It was my experience with the human faces. It didn't look like a face. It looked like some kind of idol from, you know, like prehistorical, like 3,000-4,000 years old stone carving.
Right.
But I showed to my grandfather, and oh man, he wasn't happy about it. So he said, it's a woodworking tool. You're not supposed to take it to a stone, or to a brick in this case. But that was my journey, how I started wood carving. But I always, you know, felt like in me. But you probably should understand, there is such a thing as genes, genetics. My great-great-grandfather was a famous woodworker. In Russia, before revolution, those people called, the name for those people was red wooder. Red wooder means the guy worked with red species of wood, which is mahogany, pretty much was the most expensive back then. Like Chippendale, he was only working with mahogany, pretty much mahogany. Okay, that's what he did. Indian mahogany, to be exact. And also, he was actually one of furniture makers for the royal house in St. Petersburg. So his royalty was sitting on a chair, or, you know, used the table built my ancestor. So, and the tradition of the wood carving, if you built furniture back then, we're talking about the end of 19th century, and obviously the guy before him probably most likely also been a woodworker. I don't know how many generations back. You have to possess all of the skills. Journey, I mean, you have to just, you got to be able to do all the joints, just we're talking about the dovetails and stuff like this, build the furniture, and plus embellish furniture with the wood carving and so on. So I guess I got that in me, like innate in the blood, if you wish. I was born with that. That is why it was really fascinating for me. Every time when I would, I grew up in a town, and we had like a central plaza, and there was a gift shop. Right on the right-hand side in that gift shop, there was a toy section. Those toys made out of the wood by hand. They were hand carved. I really didn't like any plastic made toys. I like those wooden toys. like bears, carved. It wasn't really carving; it was whittling,
Yeah.
which was a big deal back then in Soviet Union and so on. But I always loved that. So that was a 6 years old and on. And by the age of 16, I thought I know how to carve. Hey, besides, who doesn't know? It takes 10,000 hours and you're going to become a master, right? I mean, 3 books written about it. That's a joke. Okay, you can be 10 years in level 1. I had some wood carvers actually who carved for over 50 years and they still don't know how to carve.
True.
At the age of 16, my teacher found me, Vladimir Tokarev. He is a professional, of course. I mean, he was a master. He's still a master. Okay. He's still alive. But he said, well, you don't know anything. So let me teach you from scratch. And the technique was like that. Think what you're doing. I mean, just that approach. He really didn't do that, but just to express,
Right.
how I felt like, those 10 years and like at the age of 16, you think you know everything. And no, he started everything from zero, based everything on design specifically for wood carving based on tools which you have. I mean, it's nice when you have over 5,000 tools, you can achieve a lot more. But what about he gave me only knife. Okay, he just gave me a knife and he said, right there, that's your tool, the main one. Until you master the knife, I'm not going to give you a gouge.
Wow.
And it took me a while to master a knife. And then he gave me just one gouge, number 7, and it was 19 millimeters. I don't remember, 19 or 16 millimeters, something like that. Okay. So, but not big. Okay. And then I started to do a gouge work with one tool. I mean, carve all the grapes, all the movements, the whole 3D shape just with the one gouge and knife. And step by step, then I ended up in, for what I believe, in jail in Soviet Union, prison, jail and then prison, and wood carving, just because that one knife technique, and I'm able to do a lot of stuff with one knife. Oh, I can do a lot of stuff with just one knife. I was able to carve inside of the prison. I made myself a really tiny, small knife. It would be like about maybe 10 millimeters blade only, like, 3/8 of an inch. It's not really deep carving, but I was able to do like coffee tables, embellishments, jewelry boxes, and so on. And it helped me to survive because I didn't get paid for it, okay, of course. But at least I was able to get potato a day because you can't survive on a jail food in Soviet Union. And when I was in a prison, Soviet Union broke apart. And you can imagine people didn't have any food outside of the prison. Stores were absolutely empty, zero food, okay? No jobs, no money, no food. And in jail and prison, it was even worse. They would just have some kind of water, murky water. If you would eat that, you're going to die from diarrhea. So the only way to survive, it was carving. I was carving, get that potato. We would just slice it in 4, divide it before 4 people. It was everyday food. Okay, that's it. We would boil it and divide it in 4. And we're talking about normal size potato. It's not like Idaho, GMO thing. It was just a normal size like this, whatever without the GMO it grows. So that was pretty much, thanks to wood carving, I was able to survive because some of the people, they got jail at the same time. They did not survive that. Okay, wow. So they couldn't. And it was a really bad time. No heat source. You can imagine 42 outside, below zero. I'm talking about 42 below zero, and no heat source. When you go to bed, you wake up covered with icicles. Okay?
Oh my goodness!
So it's really, creates a big impression in my life.
Unbelievable. Well, that's a question I was just thinking about. What do you think that's got to do something to your psychology? Because, how long, first of all, remind me of how long you were there.
Well, I was there only for 2 years.
Only
but 2
2
years
years.
in Russian jail, it's equal to, I don't know, lifespan in the United States. I guess.
Right. So
No coffee.
Right. Right. That's enough to go ahead.
Oh
sorry.
yeah. Oh yes. You can get insane. No.
Right.
Well, first of all, we didn't know what the depression is. You have to understand. It's between the inmates. It's all under control. Everybody can get depressed, but you cannot show that to anyone, because if you have a problem, think about others. They do have the same problem. They're all locked. Okay, so you cannot express your angriness. There are absolutely zero fight between inmates, zero F language. You cannot use that. You're going to be punished by other inmates if you're going to use the F language.
Really?
You really learn how to live together. Okay, with the biggest mafia guys are just the normal, guys who made the mistake only once, pretty much. Okay, so the psychologically, you pretty much you're not okay. It's not like post-traumatic, and stuff like this. What happens with a lot of guys here? No, it's not like that. Just because you concentrate on building relationship in a good way, okay, and you learn how to live together as a community and survive together, you don't feel that you are alone. Okay, there's always help on the way. If you just slightly gonna show a sign of depression, somebody's gonna come to you and say, "Oh, come on, man, we're gonna help you." Okay, so we're gonna just help you. Just don't show that depression is not gonna be good for you.
Wow.
So,
wow.
Also, it is just like university of human being psychology, if you wish. You start reading people. You see through different glasses at the world, if you wish. You can't hide anymore. When I got out of jail, you can detect fake people right away. Okay, right away. Of course, you're not going to tell them, but you act accordingly. Okay, you don't share stuff with those people. What would you do with the
right?
Otherwise, it just creates the whole new person, if you wish. And that's different from what you see on TV right here. Like in the United States, you've got all those problems inside of the prisons and so on, like those gangs and stuff.
Right.
They fight each other, they kill each other, they hate each other. There is absolutely zero hate. I mean, we did not have that. We had a common enemy. It was a Soviet Union government, if you wish. Okay, so we did not fight each other. The enemy was the guy who's actually suppresses us. I mean, not the guy, but administration.
Right.
Our government who's suppressing us.
Right.
So it was a common enemy, and it just unites. It was the biggest school in my life. Biggest, like a human to human, if you wish.
Right.
How to survive. It's also really important what happened. I learned how to adapt to any environment. Like I said, hey, imagine just go to bed, like I mentioned, and wake up in icicles. But you gotta live. You gotta survive. You can't cry.
Right.
Okay? So you got to do something about it. We became creative how we would just survive that heat. We would just find some wire, create a spiral, put that in outlet. It would just create the heat for just a minute because it just, just to try once.
Right.
If there's no circuit breaker, so it's going to, be really hot and red. It's going to create just a little bit, just a source of heat for a few minutes.
Wow.
Okay, you survive. And that survival mode follows you. Doesn't matter where you live. Okay, when I escaped Russia and came to United States as a refugee, it helped me to survive right here. I would do anything. Okay, I would just get any job just to get by. And I don't understand the mindset of welfare when people trying to survive on the food stamps and so on. No, you got to find to do something, Hey, I came in the United States. I didn't have a car, didn't have a license. I walked to DMV, driver's license office. Like it took me, I don't know, maybe about 40 minutes to walk in 2 weeks when I came to United States. And I passed my test without English. 40 questions in Michigan. That was my first state.
Wow.
And I passed it and I got my driver's license. Okay. Without the language. All right.
That's amazing.
So how many tries, did it take, just normal guy
Right.
who born right here
Right.
on the first try? But you got to survive. You got to do, I built homes. I built really big homes, like custom homes. We did the millwork. I had the cabinet company, millwork company. I had just the finished carpentry. It's what I've done also myself. I did install all the doors and casing and base mold. Then I had a company. I hired other people. They worked for me, just finished carpenters. Okay, so I know all about construction. So, besides my carving, I still was carving and so on. And I think that a prison helped me to look at the world with the survival mode. Okay, let me put it that way. I'm always in survival mode. I've been always, not any longer, but
right.
you know. So that was just unconscious, driver, if you wish.
Yes.
How would I survive? How I would survive? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna pay my bills? How am I gonna pay, and so on. And so it was a bad experience, but it was also a good experience. Okay, it was a big lesson for myself. So I'm okay with that, if you would ask me. So I'm fine what happened in Soviet Union. I actually love what happened because I met the guys you can only watch on Netflix, in the movies, the Big Mafia guys. I talked with the guys
Right.
and prayed with them. One of the guys, he was crying actually. He said, "Don't say that to no one." But one of the Big Mafia guys, he cried. We talked about God, Creator, and so on, and he cried. He's just a human, okay? He has the same soul. So, hope it answers your question.
It's a great answer. It's a very, very thought. There's so much in that I have to I almost lost my place in where we are because it's just an interesting, just trying to imagine yourself in that situation and how you'd act. I don't know. I don't know how I would. I'd probably be the first one to die in that situation. It's such a. Would you say this? I remember reading Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning. And he is a doctor who lived through Auschwitz and through another training camp. Of course, as a Jewish medical practitioner, and he talks about how those who lived had a very developed inner life. That they were very thoughtful. They were creative people. They were the people who were the intellectuals. Those who you saw them, you wouldn't think they would be the ones to live. They weren't the big guys with giant muscles, with big confidence and strength. They were the people who had been very thoughtful about their life and about how they would approach things. Do you find that is the case?
Oh yes. Well, you just mentioned Auschwitz. It was a labor camp.
Right.
The prison in Soviet Union, also the name of it's a labor camp. It was exactly the same setup, same building structures, same zoning. It was exactly the same like those the Nazi camps. So the same setup. When I got out prison, I was literally skin on the bones. There's nothing about muscles there. Absolutely not. And you become really, if you wish, wiser, okay, more knowledgeable, but not by the books,
right,
but by life.
Yeah.
You can say it's a streetwise, but it's not streetwise, it's a jailwise. Okay.
Just coined a new term.
Hey, well, it is what it is. It just changes how you look at the world, how you treat other people. Okay, how, I mean, again, it's a big lesson how to live together and still smile to each other.
Right.
You know, without hatred. So that's the thing. Without, you know, saying bad stuff to each other.
Right.
Even if you are, you know, different than me and your beliefs are absolutely different. So
it's beautiful. We talked a little bit beforehand about the fact that we share something in common, that we both teach, but not only that we both teach, but that we both teach in person. Myself, I teach a lot less this year in person than I used to, but you teach consistently teach in person, but then also online. You have an online school, and of course, we'll put that link in the notes or description for people to check out. But School of Wood Carving, for you, how have you found people have received the online learning as opposed to the in-person learning? And then what does that feel like for you? Like, what's the experience both ways?
Well, they are not interchangeable. It's absolutely different feel. But the question is great. In person, some advantages, and online, some advantages. In person, some disadvantages, and online, some disadvantages. Right. Number one, when you teach in person, I'm able to just come to you and hold your hand and guide how the slicing is supposed to be done. Online, I cannot do that. Okay? But online, you can watch my hands at least 100 times or 1,000 times and just to see that slicing. You can rewind back and just to rewatch the stuff. It's actually an advantage. In person, by Friday, it's usually 5 days class, we become like one family. You know, we hug each other, we jump on a boat. Let's say when I'm teaching in Maine, William Brown, he has really good friends with the boats, with yachts. We would jump on a boat and go to ocean, hug each other, sing Kumbaya. And no, we don't sing Kumbaya, but different songs. But you understand, it's a different feel. You become like a family. Okay? But on another hand, when you do in-person class, there's a lot of distractions. Okay? What I'm talking about, if you're working, there's multiple benches, and in some schools, they place 2 people per bench. And when talking is happening all the time, when I'm not saying something, when I'm not teaching, but people talk between themselves, it just distracts the neighboring guy. Sometimes it also happens. Totally. Online, it's just you and your screen.
Right.
Okay. Also, in 5 days of class, you are limited how much you can do. Even, yes, we've done some really amazing stuff in 5 days, like, you know, some projects like that. Not bad. I kind of like it. It's in 5 days, but it's a limitation of time. Limitation of time. It's only 5 days. How much can you do? But online, you can do a really complex stuff like what you see on the wall right there. Okay. And I can do the whole project, even if it's going to take me 2 years to carve. Everything is going to be available online, and you can rewatch and rewatch, and you can actually get, in my opinion, online it actually gives you a lot more as far as the skill-wise. It doesn't give you necessarily like a guidance of the hand when I can take your hand and just to do that stuff. But on the other hand, lots of my in-person people, they actually take in class multiple times a year, coming back for multiple years, 7 years, 8 years in a row. But they're also part of my school, online school. Okay, it's more like community, if you wish. And yeah, I do have thousands of people in school, but I still try to answer all the questions. And when I talk to a camera, yes, I don't see, let's say, you, but you, how you receive me, you feel like you right here, right in my shop. Okay, so, and yes, we can't hug,
Right.
So we can't take hands and sing or jump on the boat.
Yeah. I would like that. I would like to sing on a boat with you.
Yes, yes.
That'd be a lot of fun.
But what I like, okay, for student, it's one thing, okay? The guys who's learning, when they learn, if they want to get much deeper, online is probably better. If they want to really get really deeper.
Right.
If you want to just get an idea how to get started in wood carving, in person probably a really good idea to just to take at least once, like a 5-day class.
Right.
When they just feel, I would just come and say, what are you doing? You're doing the wrong thing. I have a friend of mine, really good friend of mine. He's a luthier and also a musician. He builds really expensive upright basses. I mentioned my last class in Texas was like 90% it's a luthiers and musicians. And he's a professional guy who actually for 13 years, all he does is just to build those upright basses, really expensive ones, like $60,000, $45,000, $60,000. And he carves really good. Okay, so he's a really wood carver. But still, I came to him like last year, and I know he's probably going to watch it too. And I know, I'm not putting that in a bad way, in a good way. Right. But I would still just red mark everything what he's done. Sure. He broke all the laws of design. And now he sends me text messages before he carves. He asked me to just give my opinion what needs to be changed. And usually, I'm changing a lot of stuff.
Right.
So in person, I can come to you and see before you just dig, your gouge inside of the wood,
right?
How the line goes, and I can just say, hey, that line is the wrong position, so you gotta move it to the right or to the left. Now it's from the perspective of student, but from perspective of me, obviously I love traveling. Okay, or just get out of my 4 walls, jump on a plane, go somewhere else. Like I said, I just came from Texas, from Austin, and that's like different culture, different country, if you wish. Live music everywhere, and just meet new people, make new friends. It still counts.
Right.
Go to different place like Maine. It's an absolutely different setting. It's different people, different species of
right.
Okay. And go to Indianapolis, it's different. Go to Oregon, it's or whatever the Washington State, it's different. Florida is different, and so on. And I like to get out. For me, I would like to get even more out, but unfortunately, my calendar fills up really quickly. How many classes a year I'm willing to do.
Right.
But I love it. For me, in person, obviously, much easier because I don't have to talk to a camera all day long and record everything, and without listening music and without listening any audiobooks and so on.
Right.
So, but I have some people, they from day one, online students, and they still there for years. Okay, they still there, keep paying. I should mention that my school is actually non-for-profit. You probably don't know that. It's a 501c3, which means it's 100% tax deductible. Okay, so all the contributions. Yep.
Oh, very cool.
So
that's good to know.
It's something good for the world. Okay.
That's beautiful.
Yep.
How great.
And partially some money go to widows and orphans. It's not connected to any religious groups or anything. It's just for the widows and orphans. I grew up in a family without the father, and I know how hard it was for my mother to just keep the food on the table. So, and that is why we made the decision. So some of the money will go toward, widows and some orphanages all around the world. It's not to any particular country. There's all around the world. So it is non-profit.
Beautiful.
Non-for-profit, I should put it that way.
Right.
Yep.
Well, thanks for sharing about that.
Sure.
And so you know, just speaking on it briefly, in my experience, just to kind of really contribute in whatever way I can to what you said, or just agree with you or piggyback on it, is it's definitely the case that people who, you know, learn online tend to, some, not all, but I've noticed that they tend to progress in a different way, sometimes more quickly, because they have to do the work. And in fact, someone came to me the first year of COVID, and they said, you know, I've noticed that my students, since we've been doing online Zoom classes, have been getting better. And I thought about that. And I looked back into my past when I started carving, and I remember learning best from watching videos, like you said, rewatching them over and over and over and over again, and learning what I could, and then applying, doing, you know, 15 or 20 or 30 different versions of that piece to try and learn to stop making the same mistakes that I was making, you know, about with the forms. And so there is something about video. It's the repetition, it's the ability to rewatch it, but it's also the autonomy that the person has in making those decisions on their own. They can take it their own direction. They can use parts of what you're teaching. Whereas in a class, for me, at least when I teach, it's a little bit more, this is our project. This is our destination. You know, I'm going to show you how to do it. So yeah, I can see how everything you said is true in my case too, with the online versus in person. But yeah, you don't get quite the same family that you do. So I'm just repeating what you're saying, but it's very true. So,
well, you actually do sometimes. Let's say when I'm just the last year, I came to a class in Indianapolis, and one guy said, "Oh, well, actually, let me tell you a different story." That was another class in Maine. I was walking right in downtown of Camden, Maine. It's a beautiful town, by the way. It's considered as the best scenery on the East Coast.
Oh, wow.
Mountains go right to the ocean. It's beautiful. And I'm walking right in downtown. And one guy just recognized me, and he said, Alexander, that's you? And I said, yes, it's me. And I don't know what the guy, I mean, who the guy is, okay? And he traveled from West to take my class, and he feels like he's my friend, and, you know, but I don't know him, but he knows me, and he feels like a family.
Yeah.
Okay? And he hugged me and said, I mean, it's kind of weird in downtown when somebody, just a stranger, comes to you and starts hugging you. But on another hand, you know, it's still, it has certain degree of friendship, if you wish, our relationship, even online, because they see you all the time. They know your face. They know your face better than you, probably. You know, they know every wrinkle, you know, and everything. So
it's great.
So,
that's true.
And in Indiana, the guy said, "It's me," and I said, "Yes." And what that supposed to mean? And he said, I'm the guy who's always on YouTube, you know, just when you're doing a live, I'm the first one who's commenting. And I said, oh, that is you, of course. How else I could recognize? I don't know how you look. So, but it is, there's a certain, you know, degree of that is going on. And also nowadays, people used to the screen.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't go to Google anymore. They go to YouTube.
Right.
I mean, majority of the people, what they do, they try to Google how-tos and so on. And obviously, young people, they do more TikTok, which I deleted completely.
Same.
Because you can't learn anything right there.
Same.
But the normal people, wise people, they go on YouTube. Right?
Agreed. I agree. The longer format is better for teaching, for sure.
Of course. Yeah. No jumping and dancing and... you can't learn anything.
Exactly. It's true. I had to get rid of it myself. It just wasn't contributing. It's just it
doesn't help at all. So it's just a stupid thing. I'm so sorry to say that. But
yeah. No, I'm with you. Well, Alex, I sincerely, appreciate it. The fact that you were willing to come on and share an hour of your time, and spasibo. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. bless you for it. And is there anything that we didn't talk about that you'd like to bring
Yes,
up?
we didn't talk about you, okay? I
Sure.
wanted to ask how you do your classes online, because obviously you're doing different structure. I think you've got like over 200 lessons, something like that.
No, right? No, less than that. Now at this point, I've got 70 something lessons.
Okay.
And the reason I asked that is because my videos are typically more in editing heavy. So I'm trying to condense as much as I can into shorter bits. Mm-hmm. And so I end up producing, maybe 2 to 3 videos for the school per month. Mm-hmm. And there's, a fair amount of editing that goes into that. And so I like your format. I think that would be advantageous to spend a little less time on the editing and more time just like the demonstration part. In fact, mm-hmm. I even noticed on YouTube videos, people are more engaged when there's less of this and there's more of this. Mm-hmm. They like to see what's happening.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And so I think I'm definitely gaining a lot from this. Mm-hmm. There's something to be said for just releasing the content. Actually, Seth Godin is a business mentor, advisor guy, not of mine, but he's a very popular podcaster, Akimbo, Akimbo. And mm-hmm. he talks about this idea of people hesitate at the very end of creating a product to just ship it, send mm-hmm. it. And I struggle with that. I struggle with that. If the video, if it doesn't look right, or if it's, if it's messed up, or mm-hmm. I made a mistake in the video, edit it out, try to make it look like it didn't happen. And what I'm learning, just like you said, is, the problem is good for people to see, because then they know how to conquer those problems in their own situations, and it's more real life. So yeah, right. So right now there's 70 something videos focusing primarily on the human face. Almost every project is human face oriented. So male, female, mm-hmm. Old and young faces. But there's still so much to be added, and I continue to add as you do. It sounds like at a much slower rate. You're adding content pretty regularly. It sounds like very regularly.
Yeah, all the time. Yes, every week pretty much.
Do you have a schedule then? Just out of curiosity, how you go about adding, or do you just, when you complete a project, or do you go at the end of the day upload it to the school?
No, I used to do every day mm-hmm. uploading. Now I'm just doing once a week.
Yeah.
But it's not about finishing the project, because it's a life-based projects.
Okay.
Which I'm not waiting until it is done.
Right.
I'm filming and I'm uploading, and people watching on the go. If you wish, it's just like how those YouTubers do when they update the live events.
Right.
Okay. And I do the same thing. Same, but not the same. It's actually the project-wise.
Right.
So we're talking about just a project, and I'm working. Now, also, what I like to point also to people on my school, I'm not in the business of entertaining. Okay. If you want to be entertained, there's much better videos, on Netflix, like
That's
I mentioned, Prime, and whatever, Hulu you subscribe, or whatever, our Russian channels. So I'm not in business of creating entertainment. I'm in business, if you wish, even if I can't even call it a business because it's non-profit. I'm just sharing my life experience like a real human in real setting, in real shop, with the real tools, okay, with all the mistakes, with all, my approach, not necessarily the only approach. And if you don't feel like it's entertaining for you, I'm not going to hold and say, no, let me just make a funny movie for you, just for you. No, I'm not doing it, okay? So I'm not going to do that. There's plenty of people who's coming to school, members of my school, they learning. And some of the people don't even carve. They turn on and they watching and listening. And just it's a really good sleeping aid. That's what my wife does. No, she doesn't. But it's a joke, okay? But it's a good ASMR.
Sure, it is.
So like I said, it's not business of entertaining people. I want to really show what I'm doing. Hey, I wish there's a lot more people who would just show that, because, as you know, we always learn. For example, now with the human face, I've done human faces, but I kind of struggled with the likeness of the person. Okay. And I don't know how you good in a likeness when you just carve the real person. And when you look at that carving, and it does look like the guy. Okay. All the wrinkles, all the, movements of the muscles and stuff like it's easy on the line, because you can't confirm with that certain line. You can't just go find a particular line, picture that line, and just
that's Steve the Lion.
Yeah, Steve the Lion. Yes. How you approach likeness? How you just attack that? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I have always fought my. Actually, a friend of mine who's coming tonight for dinner is because my wife is at school, is a teacher at our biggest art academy for portrait painting, and he can paint a perfect likeness of a person. And I have always been good at likeness to an extent, but never great at it. So it's hit or miss. So at times, you can tell who it is, right? You'll be able to tell who it is, but it's not satisfying for me because I know how it's off, and everyone knows how it's off because our sense-making systems are so good at determining little differences in the face to separate. Because we know thousands of people in our lifetime. So we have this amazing ability to differentiate between person to person. And it's even if it's just minutely off, it's completely wrong. And
that's exactly what I was talking about. I mean, I can paint likeness. For me, 2D, I don't have a problem, but 3D likeness, it's different.
Right.
And that's not only like the front side, but it's all the movements. Like you said, just a slight movement. Let's say even a scar. Boom, it's a different person.
Yeah, yeah. And so, I struggle with it still. It's not something that comes easy to me, and I'm never satisfied. But I still try to practice, and I use real references for most of the projects that I do to try and capture some likeness.
Pictures from the different
exactly. Yeah, I try to use photo references in all of my work, not necessarily to make it look like that person, but to help inform the shapes to make sure they're the way that human faces are, right? So,
well, you pretty much carving like that person does not exist.com.
Yes, exactly. I basically could own the website.
It's a human face. That's it. Indian is the easy because there's a lot of wrinkles you can hide behind.
Yes, yeah. Old people in general, you see a lot of people
easier because wrinkles and stuff you can just exaggerate them.
Yes, you see a lot of people in the carving community only carving old folks.
Yeah, because first of all, lady is harder to carve. Young lady even harder.
Right.
To make all the smoothness and beauty and so it's almost impossible to make it. That's why I don't do that. Okay.
Yeah,
I don't think my customer's gonna pay me for that.
Right. I don't. Yeah, I don't. It takes so much longer to do a young person than an older person for me.
Sure.
Just days and days and days more.
Well, and a lot less chips you can take at once.
True.
I have another question. You're using a lot of bark.
I was more. In fact, this is the first time I taught a class yesterday to a friend. First time I've used bark in probably maybe 4 months, 3 or 4 months. But I enjoy it so much. I miss it, but I've been really liking basswood lately. I think something about the sound, it's more satisfying.
Of course. It's the queen of the woods.
Yeah. It's incredible. So I see why you are enjoy it so much. And a question about that: do you ever use northern basswood, or is it mostly southern basswood?
No.
So Southern American. Sorry, just
no. Well, I use different basswoods. Okay. Now, as you know, there's the two different species even in the United States: East and West. Let's say if you go to Washington State, it's a lot more rain. If you go to South Carolina and North Carolina basswood, it's a lot less rain. If you go to Wisconsin, it's just like even the size of the leaves are different. Okay. I really like Eastern. It's cleaner, in my opinion. It's a lot less strikes or streaks or those lines inside, because what happens with the wood while it grows, if there's always rain, it just pulls those pigments sometimes from the ground and just the strikes. Or spalting happens also. It could be two different types of strikings.
Right.
It could be spalted because it's already starting to rot, and that's not good. It's too mushy.
Right.
Okay? Eastern doesn't do that. I really like Canadian.
Really?
Yes, I do. I don't know why, but I always find that's really clean.
And is it harder?
No, it's not. I mean, first of all, it has to be dry, and I like air dry. Okay, so versus just kiln dry, I really like air dry. It has pinkish color, and it just smells amazing, really good. But it's still basswood. I would carve any basswood,
right?
If it's not Chinese basswood, because I did I couldn't find a local supplier. I had a big project to do, and I couldn't wait. And I found one down in Miami. The Spanish guys, he said, "Oh yeah, hermano, come, we got some basswood for you." And I came, and they loaded everything. I came, and that was just rough sawn. I came home and started to plane. Oh man, it's not even a basswood. It didn't even lay close to the basswood. I have no idea what the species of wood that was. It was really hard to carve. It was not stable. It was wet. And I still pulled the carving. I did some lines also out of that. That's a long time ago.
Right.
So I love basswood, Northern, Eastern, Western, from Holland, from France, Russia, Bulgaria. Doesn't matter. Basswood is a basswood. Okay.
There you go.
As long as it's dry, it's carvable.
Right. So. But
but you can see on this piece, it's kind of pinkish. Take a look. See, it's. I'm not sure the camera doesn't show that, but it does have some pinkish, shade in it.
Sure. Yeah. And this is Canadian?
I don't know that it's Canadian or not, but I'm pretty sure it's not Western for sure.
Right. Okay.
It is most likely Eastern, but I'm not sure it's came from. Well, actually, no. That is a Northern one.
Okay.
It must be. Maybe it's a Wisconsin, I would say, which is pretty close to Canadian. Anyway, same species, because that was in Maine. I'm pretty sure it's that project is in Maine. It's not Indiana. Okay. I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
Even if it's local to Maine, it would be equal to Canadian.
Right.
So it is Canadian then.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. That northern wood.
Yep.
Very good.
I mean, think about the Maine and the Camden. It's pretty much lines up with Quebec.
Right.
It's on the same line.
Right. It's way up there.
Yep.
Well, those were great questions, Alex. And once again, I appreciate the time. I appreciate your willingness to hang for the time you did. And would you be willing to do it again?
Oh, absolutely, Alex.
Great.
You can do that as many times as you wish.
I love it.
Okay. I'm probably going to invite you also on YouTube on my channel. Sometimes also we can just talk also.
I would love that. I would love that.
Sure. Hey, for people who's watching that, I want to remind, hey, just to follow me on Instagram. It's a woodcarver Grabovetskiy. Or, like I mentioned, if you are older, you can do it on Facebook also.
Right.
Woodcarver Grabovetskiy. Just follow me. Check out my school. I have people who's actually members of multiple schools. They're members of Chris Pye, Mary May, and they're also members in my school, okay? So if you're a member of Alec, just drop them and just come to my school.
There you go. You heard it here. It's Grabovetskiy. It's Grabovetskiy.
Yeah, it's a woodcarver Grabovetskiy.
Woodcarver Grabovetskiy.
And I was joking about drop his school, okay? I mean, keep paying the guy, but watch my stuff.
Thanks, Alex. And that's schoolofwoodcarving.com. Check him out,
Correct.
guys.
Schoolofwoodcarving.com.
I'm always honored. I'm always tickled and super excited to chat with you. So thanks for doing it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Alec.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.